Hi everyone, I'm Anthony DeMoro, and you are tuned in to a new episode of Ranters Insider, right here on Sports Rants TV and courtesy of SportsRants.com. Before we get into all this great sports talk, we want to apologize for not airing a show last week. The reason due to that is weather issues. We got hit with a major storm up in our studios, which are located in Schenectady, New York. So that is why we did not air a show last week. Don't worry, weather's nice right now, as nice as New York can possibly be at this time of year. I'll take it. So we have the show back and running. And of course, if you guys have been watching my show since the beginning, you know I love being interactive with you. So come on over to Twitter and follow me at Anthony DeMoro. You also can follow Sports Rants by following the official Sports Rants Twitter page, and that's at Sports Rants, but Rants is spelled with a Z. You can follow us with correct spelling and all, and become our fan on Facebook at facebook.com/SportsRants. And as always, we prefer you to come on over and connect with us the best way possible, and that's by becoming a member of SportsRants.com. Sports Rants is a social networking community exclusively geared for sports talk, sports fan, and sports media. Blogs, radio shows, web TV shows, and we've got everything there. And if you want to start your own sports blog, well, come on over to SportsRants.com. We'll help you get started. And we give you the tools that no other website, I don't care who it is, they're not backed by a built-in search engine optimization and internet marketing company. Not. So come on over to sportsrants.com. Even if you already have your own sports blog, feel free to share your sports-related content. All right, let's get going. And first things first, it's finally, 1,700 years later, the NBA Finals. And David Stern got his wish. The Miami Heat finished off the Indiana Pacers in Game 7 and moved on to face the San Antonio Spurs, another one of David Stern's favorite teams. All kidding aside, this should be a great series. I like the San Antonio Spurs' chances in this series, but it's hard for me to pick against the Miami Heat. They rose to the occasion, and with their backs against the wall in Game 7, they came out victorious. How this series breaks down is so interesting because San Antonio is almost as good, if not just as good, as the Indiana Pacers are defensively. While they may not be as physical, they certainly are old school. They love scoring in the paint, they can hit it from the outside, and they beat teams not only physically, but psychologically as well. This is a team that has experience, that has been there before, and is one of the best franchises in all of sports and the most successful franchises in all of sports in the past 10 to 15 years. And coaching is another advantage as well with Greg Popovich, future Hall of Famer Greg Popovich, and one of the greatest coaches of all time, roaming the sidelines at San Antonio. He's had plenty of time to scout the Heat, hasn't he? Well, now he's going to get his chance to dethrone the defending NBA champions. The Miami Heat, well, we know LeBron James is a gamer. We just don't know what we're going to get from Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh. Listen, I'm going to say this. Chris Bosh has no right or place in a conversation of top 5 big men in the league. Nor is he, or should he be, a max level contract type player. To me, he is the square peg trying to fit in the round hole in the Miami Heat system. But Bosch is going to be there, and he's going to get manhandled by Tim Duncan in this series. That's just how I see that playing out. The Heat are going to rely on LeBron James now more than ever. And LeBron James is going to have to put this team on his back and carry them, because he can't rely on that great bench production that he got from Chris Anderson and Udonis Haslem and Ray Allen in Game 7 to propel him past a team like the San Antonio Spurs. It's going to be hard. Dwayne Wade, knee issues, breaking down, inconsistency, no confidence in his jumper. Listen, I have a hard time picking against the Heat, but I have an equally hard time picking against the Spurs. Oh man, where do I go? I'm going to pick the Heat in 6. I've been picking against the Heat all playoffs. I picked Chicago to beat them, and then I picked Indiana to beat them. Although I was right about that series going 7, I still was wrong on my overall prediction. So I'm going to change it up. I'm going to pick the Heat. I'm going to pick them in 6. And if the Spurs somehow squeak it out and win this series, expect a Game 7. All right, moving on, we have the NHL playoffs winding down. Talk about the tale of two teams. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the finesse, high-scoring, high-octane offense, getting bullied by the physical Boston Bruins. Bullied. Boston has taken the lunch money of the Penguins, and they're not getting any trouble. Don't we have these be a star, no bullying campaigns all going around? Well, somebody should tell the Bruins about this. It's unfair. Stop picking on the Penguins. Well, all jokes aside, Boston has looked impressive. Pittsburgh has looked in shambles in this series. I don't know what to make of what we're seeing on the ice. The key points of the series heading into it was Pittsburgh not allowing Boston to force them to play their style of game. And you know what happened? They did. And they did it in Pittsburgh. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm not only reeling, I'm panicking. And they're making these goaltender switches. Listen, the worst thing you can do is put Marc-Andre Fleury in the net at any point in time. It's the worst thing you can do. Vaughn is going to be back in the net. From all reports that I'm reading, I don't know how much of a difference that makes when everything else on the ice is in shambles. You got Sidney Crosby trying to get in the face and trying to pick fights and getting pushed against the boards and clearly rattled by the Bruins. And everybody else is just getting put on their asses on the ice by the Bruins. This is clearly the Bruins series to lose now. I won't count Pittsburgh out and say they're going to get swept, because Sidney Crosby is the greatest hockey player on the face of the earth. I just don't think he will allow that. And you have to imagine that Pittsburgh at some point, well, like Folger says, will smell the beans and wake up here. And hopefully they do, because getting swept in this manner, if the series continues to go the way it's going to go, it's looking like it's going to go, it'd be embarrassing. So I see the Bruins winning the series, but I think the Penguins will make it respectable. It's the best thing you can do at this point. Well, the Los Angeles Kings were down 2-0 to the Chicago Blackhawks, and they managed to squeak out a win. So is this series back on track, and are the Kings poised to take control of this series against the Blackhawks? No, I don't think so. Although I like the Kings in this series, and I may have picked them on the air, I like going against my own picks. But the Blackhawks, like the Bruins, are dictating the pace of the series. But let's not discredit the Kings, who play very, very well, when their backs are up against the wall. But they've been very inconsistent throughout the playoffs with their performance and their efficiency. And that worries me, especially at this, when you're in the conference finals. Consistency needs to be on the table. Inconsistency needs to be out the window. And if the Los Angeles Kings are going to return to the Stanley Cup Finals and hoist another Stanley Cup, they're going to have to take back the total control of this series that the Blackhawks have seized. My opinion, too little, too late. So I'm going to pick the Blackhawks to win and head to the Stanley Cup Finals, which would put Blackhawks against the Bruins. Let's see how that pans out, huh? I don't think we've ever seen that before, have we? All right, so those are my picks for the NHL playoffs. Now it's time for my favorite segment of the show, and that is Fan Mail. For those of you who are new to Fan Mail and wondering, well, what's Fan Mail? Fan Mail is where I ask you for your sports-related questions on Twitter. Sorry, Facebook. Just not a big fan of Facebook like I am on Twitter. And if you tweet it to me, it may just make the show. And if it does, well, you get a nice on-screen shout-out like right over here. So let's roll into it. It's going to look a little weird because this week I really don't have the benefit of a paper in front of me. So I opened up a notepad here. I'm going to try to read it. So if my eyes aren't locked on this camera, I'm looking off in a weird direction here. Please. Don't call me out on it. Bear with me. All right, my first question comes from @Antonio_though. Is Eric Spoelstra a good coach or a beneficiary of good players and Pat Riley? All of the above. He's a good coach, and we saw that in the Indiana Pacers series because of his adjustments. That had a lot to do with the outcome of that series. Yes, he benefits from good players like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and the greatest player on the planet in LeBron James, and probably the greatest Zek in the NBA, and Pat Riley. But when it comes down to it, Eric Spoelstra makes great decisions and adjustments. Now, is he the best coach in the league? I wouldn't go that far. But he's definitely in the upper tier, and I think he's above average. So, to answer your question, all of the above. Thanks for participating. All right, The Realist, J-Mac asks me, should the NHL bring in coaches challenges like the NFL? No. One of the things that makes the NHL so exciting is their fast-paced action. It's nonstop, 1,000 miles per hour from when the puck drops until the end of the third period, until the buzzer sounds at the end of the game. And that is a great thing. So putting in coaches challenges, while it may remedy some of the erroneous officiating we've seen thus far, it's just going to create a bigger issue. And then what's going to happen is, well, what's the NBA famous for? Dragging out commercial breaks, and that's what's going to happen to the NHL. It's going to be like a dead weight holding them back, or an anchor on a ship trying to move forward. So, while it's a good idea in theory, it just won't translate in the NHL. Thank you for the question and participating. @TaymanFFB asks me, first, Spoelstra is a great coach. My question, if you could play with either LeBron or Jordan, who would you pick? Well, I would pick LeBron, and for the sole reason that LeBron James is a pass-first type of player. And if I'm on his team and I'm on the floor with him, I'm going to get the ball. Michael Jordan, very hard on his teammates, great player in his own right, but I don't know if I'd want that type of pressure. It seems like LeBron wants to shoulder the pressure and lead and distribute the ball. Heck, who doesn't want to score and have their stat sheet fill up? So I'm going to pick LeBron. Although Jordan, I'm sorry if this has nothing to do with your question. Jordan's the greatest player of all time, hands down, no debate. Hear that, Heat fans? No debate. But I would pick LeBron as my teammate. Thank you for participating. All right, @LaurieHead1 asks me, might be asked already, but who do you not want to see coaching the Canucks and why? Ooh, there's a long list of people who should not be coaching the Canucks or be their next coach. I'll tell you who I would like to see. So I'll flip it on you a little bit. I would like to see Wayne Gretzky. And whoever loses out in this Rangers coaching job chase, Wayne Gretzky was in it, and I know Mark Messier was mentioned. Well, whoever was the bigger loser in that chase, well, I would like to see with the Canucks. And I would like to see Gretzky because, let's face it, the Canucks could use the attendance boost, and they can use a popularity boost, and they can use a legend like Wayne Gretzky basically in their box. I would love to see Wayne Gretzky and the Canucks. I think it would be a great marriage for both of them. I think it would bring a lot of popularity and a lot more eyes to the Canucks team. And Gretzky, you may not have been a fan of what he did with the Coyotes. You may have been a fan of what he did with the Coyotes. But he's got some experience under his belt. So I'm going to pick Gretzky, who I would like to see. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Thank you for participating. All right. @Blaze_Foster asks me, do you think the Pittsburgh Penguins can come back and win the series? No. I don't think it's possible. With Sidney Crosby on the ice, anything's possible. But I'm gonna say if I had money on it, no. And I'm a Penguins fan. The Penguins, listen, I would feel differently if the Penguins were playing well and losing close games, but they're not. They're being knocked out of the rhythm. They're being knocked out of their game plan. They're being knocked out of the style of hockey they like to play. And to me, there is no deeper hole to crawl out of than that. So I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. Thank you for participating. All right, at Sports Drain asks me, what are the chances Jordan stays true to his play at 50 promise and makes a comeback next season to take pressure off Rose? Wow, Rose is going to have a lot of pressure, isn't he? I don't think Michael Jordan can help him because the pressure is still going to fall on Rose. I would love to see Michael Jordan come back at 50 and play in the NBA because it would set a precedent. And times are changing. As people are getting better and more aware of health and fitness and good living, I think we're seeing careers being prolonged in regards to athletes. You see careers kind of being stretched out longer. More players are playing into their 40s. So the precedent, well, I'd like it to be set with Michael Jordan. Now, we're not going to get the Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls days, and we're not going to get the Michael Jordan during his last run with the Washington Wizards. We're going to get a guy that, well, he's probably going to be a defensive liability, not being able to keep up with many players in the NBA, but he's still going to get his. So I would love to see Jordan back in the Bulls. It'd be a great story, and I think would only help their chances at an NBA title. Thank you for participating. All right, at Misty Chambers asks me, why does David Stern want the Heat to win the championship so bad? Ratings, sales, and another thing, so it can blow up that already bulbous head of David Stern. I am not a David Stern fan. I think he's the worst commissioner in sports. Hockey fans, chill out. I know Bettman is definitely on that list, but for me, David Stern, the difference between David Stern and Gary Bettman is David Stern comes on, puffs his chest, pokes his finger, and is really, really arrogant and egotistical. Very arrogant when he's talking to anybody. He likes to take credit for everything in the NBA, the NBA's growth in the past 15 to 20 years globally. Well, David Stern, hate to break it to you. LeBron James did it. Michael Jordan did it. Hakeem Olajuwon did it. Yao Ming did it. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, the list goes on and on and on. And your fat head, your bulbous little head keeps poking up, trying to take credit for it. I'll give you credit for something. I'll give you credit for the arbitrary officiating in the NBA. I'll give you credit for the rigged draft lottery. Yeah, rigged. Who does a draft lottery? You know who does? The NBA, because it's rigged. And I'll give you another one, David Stern. I'll give you credit for the integrity of your officiating, falling prey to Tim Donaghy. Falling prey to Tim Donaghy. As if he really seemed like he had a hard time cheating the game a little bit. David Stern, you're an albatross. I can't wait until you're gone. I can't wait. Because then maybe we can actually have a league where the inmates don't run the asylum. Because that's exactly what happens in the NBA. We saw it with the Clippers president and owner coming out and saying what he did that pissed off Chris Paul. That was 100% true. This is your NBA, David Stern. Good riddance. I hope I never see you again. And I hope somebody comes in and cleans up this garbage that you left. That's the David Stern legacy for me. Sorry I went on a little side rant there, but I hope I answered your question with just ratings. Thank you for participating. And in our final question, at SportsGuy52 asks me, over under 50% chance Jamarcus Russell is on an NFL roster come September. Oh man. I'm going to say over. I'm going to say over just because the New York Jets. That's my reason. I think there's a 65% Jamarcus Russell is on an NFL roster come September, and my reasoning is the New York Jets. Thank you for participating, and thank you everybody for participating in this week's fan mail. Sorry I was looking off in an opposite direction. I was doing that. I was reading it directly off my screen. And you guys can continue to participate in fan mail each and every week. If I missed your questions, I'm sorry. I'm only limited to so many that I can answer. Keep submitting. We'll get you back on the air. We'll get you back on the show. If you've never been on the show before, well, tough luck. No, I'm kidding. We'll get you on. Trust me. All right, you guys know. Come on over to sportsrants.com. Seriously. sportsrants.com. Come on over, join. It's totally cool, and it's a unique website. We're not like the other websites. We don't ask you to contribute. Well, no part of it. We don't do revenue splits. We don't do revenue sharing with our blogs. They're not our blogs. It's your blog. Think of us like renting an apartment in a complex. The apartment's yours. You do what you want. You decorate it. You do what you need. Or a townhouse even. And we just supply the space to do it. All right, I do want to remind you, every Monday night on Sports Rants Radio is my show, The Anthony DeMauro Show. It debuted on Monday. We got another awesome show upcoming this Monday, and I'm actually reaching for it right now as I knocked over everything on my desk. But we're giving away this bad boy very, very soon. A Mariano Rivera autograph photo. Do you not want this? I'll keep it. I mean, it'll go really good on my wall behind me. But, we're going to be giving it away on the show, and I hope everybody participates. It's going to be really kick-ass. And, again, next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on Sports Rants Radio. You can find us on Blog Talk Radio, or you can find us on sportsrants.com/radio. Tons of great shows. So Monday, Anthony DeMauro Show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't get enough of me flapping my gums about sports, it's the Rantin' and Ravin' Show. The following night, Tuesday, on Sports Rants Radio, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, every Thursday, I'm throwing it up on Twitter, I'm throwing it up on YouTube, I'm throwing it up on Facebook, and on sportsrants.com. And you're watching it right now. Ranters Insider. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to us. Seriously, it would make me feel special. Kidding. All right, guys, thank you so much for participating. Don't forget to follow me at Anthony DeMauro on Twitter. I'll interact with you. Just toss some sports theories at me, sports thoughts, sports rants, or sports questions. Until next time, keep ranting.